pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball. Brad Lynch does it again and stays perfect for the 2008 season. 48 for 48 in save opportunities, and let the city celebrate.
Aloha and hello out there, everybody. What's going on? This is Miho from the Too Close to Call podcast, joined as always by my co-host Pags. We hope everybody out there had a lovely Father's Day weekend, and unfortunately, our Phillies have kind of kept that somber mood going, and they dump another series in Atlanta.
Okay, first off, happy Father's Day to you, Miho.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Right back at you.
And I thought Father's Day, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to enjoy a Phil's game. You got the U.S. Open later in the day. You're like, yo, this is going to be a great day. You flip it on, and that series didn't go as well as planned.
No, it did not, especially on Father's Day in Game 3, but we'll get to that one.
I was jumping ahead. It's the freshest one in my mind.
There it is, right? Jumping around. But we got a little bit to break down on Friday and Saturday before we get to that one, because we had a couple of good baseball games being played, high-scoring games, both come down to the ninth inning, and unfortunately on Friday, the Phillies, Hector Neris blew his first save of the year, giving up 3 runs in the ninth. They were up 8-6 going to the ninth, and Hector could not close it out.
I don't think I jinxed him. I think I foresaw the future in our last podcast where I said, Hector, you can't trust him. I just don't trust him. And then there you go. Friday, he goes and blows a 8-6 lead for the Phils, trying to get on this little run here with a bunch of divisional games. A first game win against the Braves would have been really nice.
It sure would have, man, especially because I think they were a game and a half back coming into the series. You've had some positive things happening offensively. Earlier in the game, Bryce Harper hits a 2-run home run. And the important thing about this home run, Pags, is after doing some research and kind of diving through Harper's stats and some behind the scenes, listen to this statistic that was up until the beginning of this Atlanta Braves series. But Harper had only hit 4 fly balls to right field. So his pool side, 4 fly balls to right field on fastballs that were faster than 93 miles an hour.
Wow.
So anybody who's throwing a little bit of juice, Harper has not pulled in the air whatsoever. And that's why it was nice to see, because this one he got was 95 on the inside corner, got around on it and crushed that son of a bitch into right center. And that's where it was like, there it is, man. Like, think about it. You haven't seen any bombs deep to right field in a long time, let alone on a fastball. It's just been kind of mind-blowing that this guy hasn't been able to pull that inner half fastball that he's consistently missed for the first couple of months.
That's unbelievable. That's a crazy stat. So you mentioned Nick Pivetta. He comes out after his last start throwing 9 innings of 1-run baseball against the Reds last weekend. Comes in and I guess pitches okay. 6 2/3, 4 runs, 8 hits. Let's just say the start we got out of him and the amount of runs we scored, we should have won this game.
Yeah, but Pivetta and how they closed, man, that was another issue watching this game, whether it was JT Realmuto or somebody else. So Pivetta was facing, I forget who it was, before Dansby Swanson. But Dansby Swanson was coming up, I think it was 7-3 at this point. And Kapler went out to go talk to Pivetta. People thought they were going to go to Velasquez. They did not. They left him in to get to Dansby Swanson. And he goes ahead 0-2 or 1-2, I believe it was, and then proceeds to throw 6 straight curveballs to eventually walk Dansby Swanson, to then bring up Freddie Freeman, now with two people on, and then you're going to go to Velasquez to face Freddie Freeman. That's not who I want facing Freddie Freeman. I don't need you pitching around Dansby Swanson to get to the potential MVP in the National League. And Pivetta wasn't shaking off JT. So in this instance, I'm going, what the fuck are you doing here? 6 in a row to a guy that even if you throw him a fastball right down the middle, he pops it into the seats. It's still 7-5. Now you're going to give me Vinny Velo against Freddie Freeman? That's not going to go well. Just the whole sequence of him letting Pivetta stay in and then Pivetta going to 6 straight breaking balls was just frustrating to watch because, oh, great, you left him in. Well, now he walked the guy. Well, now you take him out. It's like, come on, dude. Just stick with your best stuff. And especially with the guy on deck, just challenge him. See if he can beat you. It was, little shit, man. It's just eating this club alive right now. And that's why they're losing games like this, when they should be winning.
Yeah, it always seems like this team, when they win, they win. And when they lose, man, it's just like frustrating to watch.
So Vince ended up giving up a hit, I think, to Freeman, but then got a strikeout to get out of the inning after, 1 or 2 of those runs scored, which is why Pivetta had 4 runs instead of the 2 or 3 we talked about. And then Alvarez a couple of runs and Neris in the 9th. So it was the worst loss of the season for the Phillies and the biggest game of the year. And we're saying that pretty much every week now. And this is the biggest series since the last time they made the playoffs in 7 years. So that's a reoccurring theme here now that they're trying to make the playoffs for the first time in 6 or 7 years. But honestly, man, in game 2, I was not expecting the eventual conclusion of the Phillies coming back in the 9th inning just because that was a heartbreaking loss, one to the gut. I know you had Aaron Nola going the next day and you needed a good start out of him, which ultimately you did not get again, man. So what's the deal with Nola? He had 5 bad starts, then he had 5 good starts. Now he's had 5 bad starts in a row again. So out of 15 starts, 10 of them have had, the ERA over 5, and only those 5 in there, it was like 2-3 or whatever for the month of May. But this team is not going to go anywhere or do anything if they don't have the ace in Aaron Nola throwing every 5 days.
No, and it seems like ever since he had that 6-0 allure around him, and then he has a bad outing out in San Diego, and then this one, man, this is just a bad start for him.
That's what I'm saying. The last 5 have been horrible again.
I missed the beginning of this, and I'm like, 5 runs, okay. And then I realized Nola gave up all of them, and he only threw 4 innings, 4 1/3 with 93 pitches. I'm like, the walks are down, but man, his ERA's at 4.89. Like, you're right. If they want to go anywhere this year, it's going to go with how Aaron Nola's doing. And I know he's only once every 5 days, but...
And he looks lost, man. He looks like a puppy who doesn't know what the fuck's going on out there. Last year, he was such a machine. It was routine, 7 innings, 2 runs. Like, you just saw it in his eyes. I'm better than you. I'm going to get you out. And this year, you just look at him, and he basically, without saying it, just screams, I don't know what's going on. I feel good. I'm doing the same shit I've always done. Like, this is Scott Kingery of last year. This is the first time probably in Aaron Nola's entire life where he has sucked for extended periods of time. I mean, the guy went to LSU. He was a first-round draft pick, so clearly hasn't really run into a lot of obstacles yet. In the minor leagues, cruised up, was a high riser, and now it's the long ball. 2 more home runs, and this one he got hurt by Donaldson. It was 2 runs in the 4th. He had guys on 1st and 2nd. He's throwing to Donaldson, and he threw a changeup, dude, that didn't run, didn't sink. It was a flat 83-mile-an-hour changeup, and Donaldson hit it into the second deck in left field, and just like that, Phils went from up 4-2 to down 5-4, and then that score held all the way to the 9th inning. But it was just one of those things like, okay, let's get a ground ball. Let's get out of here. Nola's always delivered in these big spots. And then he throws this floater of a changeup. At the moment it was going in there, I'm going, oh, boy. It just didn't move at all. And that's the shit where you're like, man, you just never saw that last year. His curveball was sharp. The fastball was where he wanted it. He's lost. And this Phillies team isn't going anywhere until they find Aaron Nola.
Well, let's try to look for some positives in this. Scott Kingery is raking into game 2 of this series. He is a nice 6 for 7 for those 2 games. First 2 games in Atlanta. That man is hitting the ball. Can he be our leadoff batter?
So there's discussion about it, but it gets back to, so Scott Kingery this year is being a hell of a lot more aggressive early in counts. Last year, I think the Phillies tried to change his approach a little bit from where he had been, and this is what we see with the team: working counts, seeing pitches, getting into the bullpen. And Scott Kingery is not one of those guys. He's more of a see ball, hit ball, kind of a human hitter type of thing. And there are those people. There are people that like to see it once or twice. Scotty's like, I don't care what it is, when it is. If it's in the zone, I can put a good swing on it. And he's crushing balls. I mean, how many times last year did you blink an eye and Scott Kingery was down 0-2 or 1-2 in the count? And you can't hit like that. And that's where I worry if you move him to the beginning of the lineup, whether it's 1 or 2, that either subconsciously or consciously, similar to Cesar Hernandez, you're going to see him kind of stare at that 1-0 fastball just because, oh, well, I haven't seen a breaking ball yet, and I'm supposed to make sure I show everybody else what he has. Like, no, dude, go in there and attack and hit that. And there's certain lineups where they do that, but that's where I worry about Gabe moving him up there and then going, okay, well, now we got to have you see some pitches here, Scotty. Just let the guy roll. Let him continue to be an offensive monster because his OPS is literally like 4th in the entire sport of baseball right now. So not only has he been good, he's been like historically good for these first 2 months. And he's already outplayed the $6 million we owe him for this year. So for all that money we wasted last year on him for sucking, he's already made it all the way up. And if you look on his baseball page, his WAR is all the way back to 0. That's how amazing he's been this year, is that last year has totally been wiped out. He's basically starting from 0. So good things ahead for Scotty Kingery, but I don't know if I want to mess with it and move him around too much. I may leave him in that like 5 spot with Segura hitting leadoff, but he's been in a slump too, man. They just can't get anything out of that leadoff spot since McCutchen's been down. Between Segura, Hernandez, they just keep searching for answers.
You know, Cesar's more comfortable not at the leadoff, which is crazy because last year he was pretty good at it. And Scotty, I agree with you to the fact that if it comes down to it, you want to keep him where he's comfortable. And this season's starting to turn. I'm not going to say it's a lost cause. I'm not saying that at all, but it just feels that it has that.
Tags, we don't have a 5th starter. We went with Vince Velasquez, but we told him, hey, you're the opener, so you're only going to go like 3 innings or so. And then we're going to go to Cole Irvin, who, again, is not a big league pitcher. And Velasquez, moving him out of the 8th inning or 7th inning role was the dumbest move ever, in my opinion. Just let him get there, let him get comfortable, because now Vince is going to be like, oh, I'm going every 5th day. He's probably going to go the next 5th day. When we don't need our 4 starters, 2 of them, Arrieta and Nola, ERAs in the 4s. You have no idea what you're getting out of them. Our best 2 pitchers have been Eflin and Pavetta recently, and we don't even have a 5th starter. We're going with random openers or random people. Jared Eichhoff apparently was pitching through elbow tendonitis, which is why he's been throwing batting practice for the past month. Irvin gives up another 6 spot in 3 innings. Okay, I've already seen enough of Cole Irvin to know I'm moving on from that train. You got to give me like Adonis Medina from Double-A, dude. You need a shot of energy for this Phillies ball club because right now it's not coming and everybody's just kind of looking in the mirror, waiting for somebody to put together a hot streak or carry you on offense or, you know, one of these pitchers to have a month where they put together a 1 ERA. There's no feeling of excitement or jam. Yeah. We need more jam. You know what I mean? It's just I'm not getting it from this Phillies team right now, man. They just seem to be floating down the lazy river.
Yeah, it almost feels like you have that feel of they're going to be about 5-6 back behind the Braves, and then they'll be 2 games out of the wild card, and that's how the season's going to end. That's how it feels right now.
Dallas Keuchel signs elsewhere for $13 million. So basically ownership's telling me we're not willing to go all in on this year because if you weren't beating 1 year $13 million from the Braves, you're pretty much just like, oh, okay. So it's a weird message, man, because you're sending guys like Pavetta down and other pitchers basically saying, you know, Eichhoff before, I think it was after 3 starts, like, hey, every game matters, so we're not going to let you suck. But we're not going to go all in because we don't want to pay the luxury tax. So you guys keep trying hard and every game matters, but we're not going to sign that lefty starter who's been an all-star before and is 100% an upgrade over Cole Irvin and Vince Velasquez. So I don't know what this Phillies team's looking at, man. They're the whole team just has that Aaron Nola lost look, and somebody's got to shut the door and get them going here and try to figure out what the hell's going on, because if they continue to go down this path, I know it's going to be the injury bug that is kind of the main story, but that Gabe Kapler seat could get a little bit warm if they fade early here.
Yeah, and do we want to talk about Sunday's 15-1 massacre of the team?
I brought it up in passing there with talking about Irvin 6 runs and Eichhoff 4 runs and nothing offensively. Our best pitcher was Sean Rodriguez, so that's all you need to know about the gift the Phillies gave us on Father's Day.
It seems like those games are happening. It's not few and far between. It's happening like once a month, and it's kind of annoying to the fact that you're like, oh my God, there's one game every month where they just get freaking run out of the building early.
Oh, man, starting pitching, and that's the problem because they're not going to go all in on a rental on the trade deadline, clearly, because they don't want to pay somebody. So it's
Right.
It's going to be interesting to see if they make a move with now as well as the future in mind, and then what type of pieces that'll ultimately take, or if they're just going to go the internal, like I mentioned, call up Adonis Medina from Double-A because he's really the next starting pitching caliber arm that would bring excitement to the fan base instead of just, yeah, okay, let's see what Cole Irvin can do. He's been pretty solid for the Piggies.
If this series against the Nationals coming up goes bad, I can very well see them being like, okay, time to make a move. We're losing the fan base.
Yeah, we
Before
got
the
Strasburg and Scherzer this round, so not missing either of those gentlemen. Patrick Corbin, I believe, as well. So on paper, this series sets up for the Nationals to win 3 out of 4. However, if you're the Phillies, after dumping 2 or 3 to Atlanta, you almost have to win 3, with a worst-case scenario being a split here in Washington.
That's not the way we wanted to start these 27 games of NL East play, but plenty of baseball to be played.
Got to ramp up the intensity here.
You're right. The intensity needs to fly. The Phillies need to freaking figure something out. Gabe needs to switch something up. They need to make a move, and it needs to come soon. I can't wait till July 31st because the way this is looking, we could be out of the NL East race by the time it rolls around. So hopefully we have some good news along the horizon. Hopefully we take at least 3 of, if not split with the Nationals. But we will keep updating you after every series with the Phillies Fanatic podcast, brought to you by Too Close to Call. We're all over your Instagram, all over your social media platforms. Give us a like, share us with your friends. We will talk to you after this 4-game stint against the Nationals. Later.
Peace.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball. Brad Lynch does it again and stays perfect for the 2008 season. 48 for 48 in save opportunities, and let the city celebrate.